Hey you guys, it's Friday evening, end of the work week, and I wanted to hop on and record a little video about sex and sexuality. There is something that I've noticed come up with a lot of clients. As most of you know, I work as an intuitive and as an empath, and I do sessions with people where I channel their unconscious thoughts, feelings, and energy and bring them into the light of consciousness so that it can be excavated and healed and worked with. And so a lot of times we end up talking about sex and sexuality because it should be no surprise, sex and sexual energy is something that often gets pushed down in people. And it's a very primal life force energy. I want to speak about something really specific related to sex and sexuality today. And like I said, it's something that comes up a lot in my sessions with clients, and that's actually why I'm making this video. And that is this phenomenon or experience of people being in relationship with a significant other or romantic partner and not enjoying their sex life with this partner. Not feeling seen, not feeling met, and going through with it anyway. So, this can look different ways, but, for example, the person who feels like it's just simply about their partner's pleasure and not theirs, and they feel kind of used, and they don't feel optimally aroused and engaged by the sexual exchange. And then they just kind of go through it anyway. And I mean, literally, that's the language the clients will use. It's like, oh, let me just get through it. Or similarly, other experiences of needs not being met, somehow feeling disappointed, and not feeling able to speak about it for whatever reason, either because, there's just something inside that says, I'm not allowed to say this, or I'm worried about hurting my partner's feelings, or I have mentioned it and my partner gets really reactive or defensive. There's just some sort of block to speaking. And in that place where there's a block to speaking, the person who is feeling unmet, unseen, and unsatisfied by the sex life just puts themselves through it. And oftentimes a lot of the language that I hear is like, I'll just sort of shut down during sex. I'll just get through it. And, it's interesting because whenever people report this to me, it's usually reported through this lens of, it's not a big deal. This is just what I have to do. Sex is a part of a relationship, and this is just what I do. I just get through it and then we move on. And as an empath, I feel the feelings of the person I'm with. And it becomes my job in these sessions to reflect to my clients what I want to reflect to you. If you're listening to this and it's resonating with you, what I want to reflect to you, what feels important to reflect to you, is this is actually a really big deal. It is a big deal. It is not something to just sweep under the rug. I want to acknowledge and to name to you and for you that when you are putting yourself through repeated sexual encounters that you don't actually like, and that your body shuts down just to get through, you are actually betraying yourself, and you are betraying your own body. And there is psychic damage done there. And it's like, even as I'm saying this, for whomever it's resonating with, it's like I feel the heart freeze. I feel the rage that's in the heart over this, because of course, how can you not be angry on some level when you are submitting yourself to something you don't actually even want to submit yourself to for the sake of just going along to get along? It is a big deal to betray your own body. It is a big deal to put yourself through a situation where you are not physically, emotionally, and sexually seen. And you are just doing it to get through it. That is not a light thing. And what I want to say about this is don't make the mistake of thinking, well, this is just sex. You know, this is just this thing I've got to get through that's compartmentalized over here before I can get to other aspects of the relationship. Now, first of all, if you are submitting yourself to sexual experiences that you don't actually want to go through, and your partner isn't seeing this and isn't meeting you there in some way, on some level, you resent your partner for that. Even if you're not conscious of it, on some level, you deeply resent your partner for that. And what I'm hearing is that there's actually probably some investment in unconsciously resenting your partner for that, because it gives you a reason and an excuse to silently punish your partner on an unconscious level as well. So if there's any part of you that's sort of looking to stay out of truly deep and connected connection, and if there's some part of you that wants to pull back from truly being seen in full intimacy, this is a great way to hold a resentment against your partner on an unconscious level. But what I want to say is that this speaks to deeper issues than just the sex, because on some fundamental level, what you're basically saying to me is I don't feel permission to be in deep, honest communication with my partner about one of the most intimate, vulnerable areas of life, self, and relationship. And that says something. That either says something about you and your relationship to sort of your needs, to your boundaries, and it says something about your relationship. I want to invite you to take this seriously. I want to invite you to not just brush it under the rug that you are not being sexually met and you are not saying anything about it and that you are just kind of going through it to get through it. I want you to stop and really sit with the question, if I didn't just brush this under the rug and if I let myself feel the full weight of this, where is it going to take me? What am I going to learn about myself? And what needs to change? I want to say this is a really big issue. And even though I do feel like this is an important message and I want you to start cultivating consciousness around it, I also feel I'm getting a message to say there's no rush. You know, I don't want you to feel like this means you have to rush into forcing a conversation with your partner. I want to say I understand that for a lot of you, there really are limitations in the communication you can have with your partner right now. You might not be heard. You might not be seen. It might trigger something in your partner that's insecure or angry or some feeling your partner doesn't want to tolerate. So I get you might not be able to get to the heart of this right now. And I want to say there is no rush. However, don't use those limitations as a reason and as an excuse to avoid doing this work. This work meaning really starting to understand in yourself why it is you betray your own boundaries and what part of you has drawn in this situation where you don't feel free to assert your needs and boundaries. Start cultivating awareness around that. Start cultivating consciousness around that. Be your own hero. Oh, apparently that's important. Be your own hero by taking this issue seriously, standing up for yourself, for your young self, and saying, it's a big deal that I betray my sexual boundaries, that I betray my body. And I'm setting an intention to heal this by cultivating consciousness around it. And the first step to consciousness is not pretending that this is a smaller issue than it is. Okay, leave me a comment if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.